Demonstrate how to properly fit an e-collar. So a couple things you have to take into consideration before you start picking out your size e-collars is one, what we're trying to protect. Generally we're using these to protect from a surgery, and so we want to make sure that it fits so that they can't actually reach around, push the collar back, and get to whatever site we're trying to protect. So we have to take into consideration how long their nose is, and also their neck, not just how wide it is, but how long it is. You have some breeds like Dobermans that have a really long scrawny neck, as well as a really long muzzle. So we have to kind of figure out which is more important. Are we trying to protect them reaching around trying to get to an incision, or did we do surgery on their ears and we're just trying to keep them from kicking at their ears, and it might not be as important that the front of the muzzle hangs out of the e-collar. Other things we might be using an e-collar for is for protection for us in a hospital situation. We can put them on those fractious dogs, and that just kind of takes a little bit of that away from us when we're trying to do things to that patient. We don't have to focus as much on the front end reaching around, since we can't leave a muzzle on them in a kennel. So when I'm getting ready to fit my e-collar, I want to have a couple different sizes that I think might be appropriate, and something to tie it on. Some people attach them right to the collar. That's totally fine if they have a collar that fits appropriately. Otherwise, we can just use some gauze. So we can test our e-collars to try to get an idea if they're going to fit. So I'm going to try this one first because I feel like this one would be the best around her neck. But unfortunately, you can see there's no way that that's going to work with her muzzle. It's sticking out way too far. So she's going to be able to reach around that e-collar and lick whatever she wants to lick. So we can test this one, and this one looks like a much better option. You can see here on the last one, I've got quite a bit of room here, just enough to get a couple fingers in here, so that fits pretty good. And her muzzle's about an inch and a half away from the end of the e-collar. So this one will fit perfectly. So now we have the struggle of putting it together. So most of these, and the newer ones now even, are labeled for you. It's just a weaving pattern, so we're just going to weave in and out of these little notches that are for them. And then the last one tucks in here to keep it from coming loose. And then for the ones to hold the e-collar on, we just push them through and tuck them under so that it kind of grabs it there and holds it in place. Notice that if we needed to, if this e-collar fit her perfectly on the nose, but her neck was really tiny, we could potentially put some extra notches here to make it a little bit tighter, to move it all the way over. We don't have to do that for her, but we could do that for if another e-collar fit this way, but not around the neck well. So then what we can do is go ahead and feed our holder in here. So whatever you're going to use to hold the e-collar, you can go ahead and get that all ready, so that when I get it on her, all I have to do is tighten it up. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead. You do wanna be careful when you're putting the e-collar over their head. Some e-collars, this part can be a little bit sharp, so you do wanna make sure and protect their face when you're putting it on. So I usually try to hold these out of the way and slide it over their head. Make sure their cute little ears are where they're supposed to be. And then we're just gonna tie this in a bow. Some dogs are Houdinis and they can get e-collars off. So you can actually do things where you tie it behind their hind legs here, or even make a harness with it, so that way they can't get it off, because some dogs you'll put it on and within 2 seconds they somehow manage to get it off, especially those dogs that have really big necks and not a lot of face, so they can slide it off pretty easily. So once I get it on, I do want to make sure again that it's fitting correctly. I can get a couple fingers in here, it's loose enough, but she can't pull it over her head, which means she's not going to be able to kick it off, hopefully. And I do have it's properly fitting here in the front. So this would be a good e-collar for her. And that is how we fit a dog for an e-collar.